Yo,
Yeah.
all right, really good. Big up to every one of you guys watching. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Omar BYT, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, guys, to a brand new Barcelona talk show, ladies and gentlemen, guys. This is a show I'm gonna be running every single week from now on, guys, where we're gonna be doing some Barcelona news with some panelists, guys, some Barcelona panelists. And today, guys, I have someone who's obviously, guys, a regular on the channel, guys. You guys have seen him a few times if you guys are subscribed to my channel over here. Obviously, my man Elias Coolest podcast. What is going on, brother? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Obviously, these past couple of days have been a little bit tough, but we move on. We make do what it is, but always glad to be on and absolutely excited to talk about some Barcelona.
No, absolutely, man. Yeah, you're right. Listen, man, it has been. Well, listen, we've been the butts of a lot of people's jokes. I mean, people haven't really had a lot of reasons to laugh at Barcelona this season. So people, they throw their shots when they can, and it is what it is. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, we are obviously coming back after a terrible week. In the Champions League, the dream, the European dream, unfortunately, has ended another year.
Yeah.
Before we get into the news, obviously, we have been talking about, our aspirations this season when it comes to the Champions League and everything else. How do you feel, right, seeing just how close we were? I mean, obviously, we started the game very poorly. We brought it back. We made a late comeback. We had a few, 30, like around 90 seconds away from a Champions League final. And just like that, we let it slip off our hands. And once again, another year and no Champions League. Like, how do you feel, bro? Like, about how, like, what was your, tell me your experience about it? Because I wasn't doing a
Um.
watch along, but I was definitely watching.
Yeah. No. Just uh. No. On Tuesday, I think that was one of the heaviest and the most hurtful defeats I felt as a Barcelona fan. The last time I can think about a defeat that hurt me that much was Anfield. When Barcelona lost 4-0, and obviously you went into the tie thinking, hey, Barcelona are the favorites. Inter Milan, very respectable team. They're going to be causing you dangers. But overall, when you've been looking at how the season's been going and everything, the expectations, obviously so far it's a bit like the UCL campaign. I'm gonna say this right here. It's been a success. It's been a tremendous success. No one at the start of the season expected us to be in the semifinals of the Champions League, and so that is something to congratulate the teams, to be proud of. But obviously, the way that you go out, the circumstances surrounding the match, you're heartbroken. You're heartbroken because I genuinely believe that we were going to be in that UCL final.
Yep.
As you mentioned, we were only a minute or two away from actually reaching that, and the way that we can see these goals is just like, yeah, man. And it's heartbreaking because it's been, it's gonna go past a decade
Yep.
since we've actually been in the final and won this competition. And when you're thinking about it, like how close, how fortunate, how much more do we have to put in? Because we've been by far the best team in Europe. How much more do we have to actually do in order to win this competition? Sometimes you need luck in to go your way. Sometimes you need some fortunate decisions, and you also need to back it up. And obviously, I did make some videos talking about it where I was a little bit pessimistic, but in general, as a Barcelona fan, you're looking at the team, you're looking at the squad, and you're thinking, hey, these players, they haven't even reached 20 years of age. A lot of them. Your
Mm-hmm.
Lamine Yamal, he's 17, Guarci, 18. You have your Gavi, your Pedri. A lot of these players, they are at the start of their careers, and so when you think about the future, you're very optimistic. You're thinking, hey, Barcelona, we have a generation here that can create history. And obviously, this season we want to end it off on a high, winning the La Liga trophy.
Mm-hmm.
But next season we want to do even better. We want to go after a UCL and win it. But just talking about Tuesday, it was one of the most heartbreaking defeats I felt as a Barcelona fan
It,
in general.
and you know what it is, right? I know the feeling because as Barcelona fans, it's kind of this feeling that we had, the fear that we were having as Barca fans in Europe this season, where we were like, as good as we are, Barcelona have this tendency to have a moment in the game of relapse. You understand what I'm saying? And to me, watching that game, and remember in the last few years, right, in the Champions League, how we've not been knocked out, right? You think
Yeah.
about like last season, how we got knocked out after being in the lead, right? You think about how we got knocked out in 2019, 2018, right, where we had it in our hands and we
Yeah.
messed it up. And you saw what happened yesterday, and it just brought back those memories of like, you know, having it so close, right at your grasp, and all you had to do was just defend. And that was what hurt me the most, is the fact that we became arrogant in that game when we went 3-2 up. We thought we tried to do the thing we did against Atleti, where we were trying to basically attack them from the front. You understand what I'm saying, right? We were like, we're gonna attack them from minute 1 to minute 90. It's not good enough. It is not good enough, and I was very very upset. I was very upset. But listen, obviously, you know the worst thing is for me, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say before we move on, is the fact that as Barca fans, some of us might have saw this coming. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? We were just like, it's our biggest fear as Barca fans, where we're like so close, but it's one mistake by Barcelona that costs us everything. Because that game, that mistake of going forward in the 93rd minute, any manager, any top team, any winning team would have understood at that time is no more attacking, defend, waste time, gamesmanship. You do all of that. But for me, watching that game, especially when I saw Yamal going forward trying to get another goal, it showed to me our lack of experience. This shows you how young this team is, that they are naive. They're making these mistakes. You understand what I'm saying, right? Because Yamal, I believe
No, I do understand that.
yes, I feel like a more experienced player would have understood at that time. Yamal would not even gone forward. He would have taken it to the corner flag and just wait. You understand? Waste as much time as you can.
No.
But yeah, man, listen, it's heartbreaking, obviously. Big up to every single one of you guys, man. There's a lot of people in here. We got 17 people in the building. Sorry, guys, I can't put your chats in the TV on the stream, guys. But listen, I do see your chats. Big up to every single one of you guys, man. But I mean, listen, congrats to Inter. I, I if you know anything, and I think I think we spoke about this on one of our news roundups when the round of 16 tie was made, right? And we knew
Yeah.
our path. And I told you that Inter was like the one we needed to worry about, and this is why.
Yeah.
Because if you watch Barca this season under Flick, look at all the games we've lost this season. They've all played the same way against us. Low blocks, defensive, hit us on the counter, and that's what Inter do. So yeah, man. But obviously, I saw recently on your stream, right? You were talking about the Rashford move, right? Now we know
Yeah.
that Rashford, I think, recently changed agents. So Pini
Yes.
Zahavi, who we know is connected to the club, right, and who is Hansi Flick's agent, is now going to be Rashford's agent, and also he's also agents with another one who's recently been linked to the club, Leroy Sané, right? Now, let's first of all start with the Rashford talk. Now, from what I'm hearing recently, it seems that Hansi Flick is a big fan of Rashford. And I think Rashford, it doesn't seem like, Aston Villa are going to trigger his buyout clause and basically, buy him. So the talk for him joining Barcelona has picked up from the January, obviously. Now, I have my opinions on this move, but I feel like what I want to talk about before we talk about that is this Pini Zahavi guy, right? Is he beginning to have too much power at the club? Because he's been able to bring in a lot of his clients. I mean, some of them have worked out, like Hansi Flick, but Leroy Sané is being linked, right, heavily. Rashford is being linked, and apparently Flick is a big fan of him. Do you think that, and we know he's friends with Joan Laporta, close friends with him. Are you worried that this man might be beginning to have too much power at the club with some of the players that he's bringing in, that he's potentially trying to bring into the club?
Well, it's always a double-edged sword relying on these player agents to facilitate these big moves, because you've seen, for example, sometimes they work in our favor. You think about all the Jorge Mendes clients coming in. You think about certain players coming into Barcelona. Barcelona getting some favorable deals, for example, that can play in favor. But at the same time, an agent having too much power, it can put pressure on Barcelona
Mm.
to say, hey, you know what, do me this favor, and down the line I'll repay you necessarily. It is a double-edged sword, but I trust like the both the sporting staff and the board in managing that fine line, training very lightly and everything.
Mm.
And obviously, when we talk about Rashford, we talk about the player specifically. That's going to be a different discussion, but I don't necessarily think Pini Zahavi, as of yet, is has too much power at the club. He is, I believe, he's Robert Lewandowski's agent as well.
Yes,
Uh,
that's another one I forgot to mention. Mhm.
and so he played a big move, a big part actually in bringing Robert Lewandowski to the club and everything. But in general, I don't think he has the power necessary. You could be worried, but obviously, it could play a factor in the future.
No, and that is for me the biggest worry because obviously, yes, he's got a lot of great clients, right? Some of
Yeah,
the players that he's been linked to. I mean, recently, obviously, I speak to a lot of my Bayern mates, right?
yeah,
And some of them have been talking about Leroy Sané because it looked like he was going to be staying at the club. But now it seems that he's apparently asking for too much money, and now the club are already considering their options now, right? And because of that, now the links back to Barcelona have begun. Now, personally, for me, I don't want this. Like, I'm gonna be very honest. These two moves that I'm hearing, this is not the moves I wanted to hear. You understand what I'm saying, right? Like at the end of the day, I get it. Barcelona definitely we need to active in the summer. We need to go out and we need to buy players. I do believe that positions that that urgently need players is the attack and in the defensive position. You saw the game against Juve. I'm sorry, against Inter. Sorry, I saw Gio in the chat and then I just said Juve. Sorry. Big up to my brother Gio. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Juve Cornercast. But Inter, right? During that game against Inter, we don't have any. We have been dealing with players playing as a position. Kunde is not a natural right back, even though he's been incredible and he's done a great job over there.
yeah.
We need a right back. We need a left back. I'm sorry. As much as Balde, people can say, yeah, but he's been doing well, this and this and this. I'm sorry. If I'm gonna keep it 100%, I think we need to do better. Now, that's just me.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying, right?
Better than Balde, you think?
Not necessarily better than Balde, but as just good as Balde. Because if you look at the levels, because Gerard Martin, I'm
Okay.
sorry, is not good enough. This guy needs to leave. I'm sorry, he is not even good enough to be a good number two. You understand what I mean, right? He's not reliable.
In regards to Gerard Martin, I think it's a matter of profile necessarily, because as a player, I don't think that he's bad. I'm gonna be that honest. I don't think that he's bad. I think maybe in a certain type of setup, he can thrive. He can do really well. You saw his quality, for example, in that second leg against Inter, providing those two assists. His final ball delivery is much better than that of Bale. How many times have we seen him get an assist, putting in these low crosses, putting in these crosses? That's something that is one of his virtues. But obviously, in the system that Hansi Flick employs, you require a different type of player. You want a player to be more aggressive. You want a player to be more explosive, to be able to have some more recovery speed, to be able to command that flank by himself.
Right.
Because Rafinha, as much as he's been outstanding this season, he's not a traditional winger. He likes to invert. He likes to come inside.
He's not a left
And
winger
when you
in
do that,
general. He's not a left winger.
exactly. He's not a left winger.
Mm-mm.
And so when you do that, you need attacking outlet. You need someone who provides width on that left hand side. And Gian Martin isn't that. And so I understand why people are very critical about Gerard Martin. And I think some of that criticism is warranted, but at the same time, I don't view him as a scapegoat. I think that Barcelona in the transfer window, we're gonna have to identify the profiles. The profiles is what this team needs the most.
Mm-hmm.
Players in certain positions that can suit Hansi Flick's system, in general, and to see that increase in performances and sustainability throughout the entirety of the second half of the season.
I mean, that's 100% true, and I don't necessarily even disagree with any of that, right? If we're gonna buy players that fit the system, for me, this is where I get confused. How does
Yeah.
Rashford for me? And maybe it's just me. Maybe Hansi Flick is something that clearly I'm not seeing. But
Okay.
what does he bring? What would he bring into our team? I'm sorry, this Rashford guy. From what I've seen from him, I don't think this guy is. He wants it. He has this tendency to go, mentally switch off. You understand
Uh
what I'm
huh.
saying, right? Leroy Sané, bro. I'm sorry. I watched this brother his game against Bayern Munich. bro, he was absolutely off. Bro, it wasn't just that he was bad, it was his lack of interest. And I was looking at it, and I remember speaking to my friend Zier saying, bro, this guy literally showed, like, I can see why you guys lose your minds. Because this guy shows, like, sometimes it's just like he can't be asked. Barcelona, you can't do that at Barca. You know that. We
Yeah.
Barcelona fans, we notice when a player is not giving 100%, and we will react, and the fans, the stadium will react to what they see. So for me, I think there are better options that we can look at. Now I get it. People are gonna say, well, maybe it's because Zahavi is the agent, and it's easier when you have a good relationship with an agent to buy players from that agent. You understand what I'm saying, right? You see with Jorge Mendes when he was at Wolves. Like, look at the amount of Portuguese players that the Wolves signed in
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was all Jorge Mendes. All Jorge Mendes. Like, he was able to convince Ruben Neves, who was one of the best young players at Porto, to leave Porto and go to Wolves. Right? He was able to bring in Pablo Sarabia there. He was able to bring Raul Jimenez there. He was able to bring in João Moutinho at that club. Even Vitinha, he was once at Wolves. You understand what I'm saying, right? He
No.
was able to buy a lot of the Portuguese, what's his name? Superliga players, basically Portuguese league players, into Wolves. And I think that this is very similar to what we're trying to do. Now, look, I don't have an issue at all with the president having good relationship with agents. That's actually great. Like, I have nothing against that. You understand what I'm saying, right? I think that it's great that to have a president who has this good relationship with the agents, because it's easy. Then you can just talk to the agent. You be like, listen, man, this player is not unsettled. All right, man, we actually want him. Ask him if he's interested in joining us. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But the player that we're
No.
dealing
Absolutely.
with is not good enough. It's not good enough. And the Rashford point for me is the most important thing for me, right? Because we'll talk about Sané, but I want to start with Rashford.
Yeah.
Why do you start with Rashford? Do you want to see him join us?
Well, and I think it's clear from right here, just looking at these past games against Inter, and in general, like these past couple of weeks, it's clear and obvious that Barcelona, we need attacking firepower up front. We need an attacking player out on the left wing. You've seen with the absence of Balde, with the type of player that Rafinha is, you need a natural left winger, someone who can go 1v1 against a defender. Because one of the biggest reasons, that caused our elimination is that Dumfries, he had free reign on that right hand side,
Yeah.
time and time again. He was just bombing them forward with no regard of him watching his back. If Balde was there, that it's a completely different story. He has to be more cautious. He's not having these runs, as many runs as he did throughout
Mm-hmm.
the time and everything. And so I think someone on the left wing is a priority. Now, in regards to Rashford, he can play there. Obviously, I don't think it's the best position for him, but he can play there.
Right.
He is an option. But I just think, just looking at the market, looking at the options that are available, I think Marcus Rashford, he is a low cost option for Barcelona who can play in the number 9 position, because Robert
Okay.
Lewandowski,
Okay.
he's been absolutely phenomenal in the striker position, but can he replicate this form
Next
next
season.
season?
Mm.
What happens if Ferran? What happens if he can't replicate that form? That's why I think you do need to have a player who can play multiple positions up top. And so when you're looking at the summer, I'm looking number one, a left winger. That's a priority. Left winger, someone who can play there, and then a player who can play in the number 9 or can play in the left wing. Another player that has been mentioned is Lookman. I'm a big fan of
That's a good
Lookman.
one.
Lookman, he 30 million you pay for him, a player who's been doing fantastic at Atalanta. You bring him in necessarily, and so I am a fan of Rashford. I think the biggest issue would be in regards to the wages. How much would Rashford be willing to lower that? And on top of that, what is the adaptation? How would he adapt to Barcelona and everything like that? How would he adapt to this style of play? But as Hansi Flick, if he's a fan of Rashford, if he likes what he's seen, then I have no reason to doubt his abilities and everything. And so when I give my thoughts on Rashford, if it's a low cost move, low wages, and potentially even a loan, I'm all in favor for that. I think it has a huge upside potential.
I mean, if it's on loan, then I will probably take it. 100%. Right? Um, But yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest, man. I think that as a club, right, we have to be a little bit more ambitious in the players we want to sign. I'm not saying that we don't need players in the position that you say. Now, I'm not sitting here saying we should go and buy the best players in the world in every position and spend 75 to 100 million. But I think there are better options for me, right? Where I'm like, well, listen, like you just mentioned, Lookman is a great option. I would, I
No.
wouldn't even mind the Lookman because I think that with the Lookman, not only is he going to be cheap, but at least with him, when we sign him, it's not like we're expecting the world from him. He's not going to come in and just start. You understand what I'm saying, right? He understands. All
No.
right, I'm at Barcelona. I'm going to have to fight to prove that I deserve to play here. You understand what I'm saying? You look at players
Yeah.
like for me, Rashford, right? And you talk about maybe strikers. I'm gonna be very honest. I think that if we're gonna replace Lewandowski, we need to go and buy a better striker of the caliber of Lewandowski. You understand
Mhm.
what I'm saying, right? We need to go out and get probably a Gyökeres who plays for Sporting or an Isaac who plays for Newcastle, something like that. I feel like it would be a
It's,
huge downgrade to go from Rashford from Lewandowski to Rashford.
I completely agree with you right there. But the issue is necessarily what striker is available in the market that can replace Robert Lewandowski. Even 36, about to turn 37-year-old Robert Lewandowski
Mm.
is putting the best numbers in Europe. When you look at that, you can't really compete with that. And so when you're looking at the market and say, hey, who can potentially? There's basically no one that comes to mind. You obviously you have your Haaland, you have your Harry Kanes. Gyökeres is doing well in Portugal, but there's still a lot of doubt. In regards to that signing, can he transition to Barcelona?
Mm.
There's doubt about his potential. Can he make that step up? Isaac, it would be obviously a dream move, but it'd be way too expensive. And so, in general, I think Barcelona's plan is just simple. Hey, we stick with Robert Lewandowski one more season,
Uh-huh.
and then from then on, we look for a replacement long term. I don't think that Rashford is going to be that replacement. I think he's just going to be an option to say, hey, if
For now.
yeah, let's manage Robert Lewandowski's minutes even more. Let's
Mm.
give him even more rest. Let's play Ferran more. Let's play Rashford more, in order to have Robert Lewandowski fit for those big matches.
No, I hear it. Let me read some of these comments. We got some questions here. Big up to my brother Ravi every time. He says, question, how can Barca be more effective in creating to score goals? I mean, I don't think that's our problem, is it, Elias? Not necessarily that we can create to score goals. We do.
Mm, in regards to creation of goals, I don't think so. I think Barcelona. I think one of the biggest issues is in regards to our finishing,
Mm.
and I think that's just like experience and quality of player necessarily.
Right.
Um, because Barcelona, we're I believe like one of the best like chance creating teams in Europe, and just looking at the amount of goals scored, it's absolutely ridiculous. But you you look at the amount of chances that, for example, a Lamine Yamal misses, a Rafinha. I think it's just obviously quality.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Rafinha is having a stellar season,
Yep.
you wouldn't necessarily say he's the most talented. And Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, he's 17 years old. He's got tons to learn, tons to develop as a player.
Yep.
And Robert Lewandowski, obviously one of the most lethal players in Europe. But he is 36, so he's not going to be able to push. Put every single ball away. In regards to that, I just think, hey, just create even more chances.
I hear it, man. I hear it. We go to my brother John Williams says Rashford would work for Barcelona because he's very vertical and can play in different positions, so he's a good rotational player. I think that's what you were saying, Elias, in a way, right? You're basically saying that he can be a good option as far as like different
Yeah.
positions, so he can play on the left and in the middle, right?
No, and I think as well, in this modern day of football, you need players who can play multiple different positions. Unless you're going to be absolutely phenomenal, if you're not going to be a Lamine Yamal, a let's say I don't know, a Robert Lewandowski necessarily, who this is your position, you're the one of the best, if not the best in the world in that position,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to be a player that can add value in different and multiple different positions and everything. Because with the season being so long, with having squad depleted due to injuries, suspensions, player form, you need a multitude of players. If let's say Ferran isn't doing well, if he's injured, you need a player who can necessarily say, "Hey, You know what? I can step up in the striker position. Hey, I can step up and play left wing. If you need me, I can play at cam. You need to have options. And so I think that's another reason why Barcelona, they are looking at Rashford and they're looking at him and thinking, hey,
Yeah.
he has the versatility to play in these different positions.
Nah, 100%. John Williams says we need full backs and a natural left winger. Let's get Frimpong, Jonathan Tah, and a left winger like Lookman. Here's the thing. That would be great. That would be
Yeah.
great, right? I would love to have Frimpong because Frimpong, he's technically a wing back, but the important thing about Frimpong is going forward, he's gonna be absolutely terrifying, especially under this system. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Under the system, he's gonna cook, right? Jonathan Tah. Now, I mean, I think we spoke about Jonathan Tah back in January, bro. It's crazy because we
Yeah.
were so certain that this move was gonna be done by now, where it was
Mhm.
gonna be like pre-contract already signed. He's joining Barcelona in the summer, but still nothing. And apparently now Bayern Munich are becoming more and more believing more and more that they
Yeah.
need to bring him in. Listen, when you look at how where our defense is looking, especially from that game against Inter, right? I'm gonna be very honest, yeah. As much as I give this team credit, and as much as I've given credit to some of our defenders like Inigo, how they've stepped up, Kobashi, right? Him, right? You've got Christensen, he's been injured most of the season, right? Araujo. I'm gonna be very honest, man. Do you honestly think that this defense is good enough for where we wanna go? Because I have a lot of questions about this defense.
Well, first, I will say that the defense was a makeshift. I
Mm.
will say that, like from the start, just from the very first game, you had Jos Kunde get injured in the first half. You had Balde not even be of not even be able to play in either of those two matches, and those are some of the most important players in that back line.
Mm.
It's like the amount of trouble and chaos that Dumfries caused on that left hand side was a big obstacle for Barcelona, and Balde there, it's a completely different game. It's simple as that. It's just completely different. Inigo Martinez and Pau Cuarci, I think that center back partnership has been absolutely phenomenal. My issue is necessarily, hey, can Inigo Martinez replicate this level next season? Because he's 33,
Yep.
he is getting up there with age. But in regards to the overall back line, I think we're good. The only issue is in regards to those fullbacks. I think depth in those fullback positions is key.
Okay.
And so I'm looking at Barcelona, I'm thinking, hey, there needs to be a signing in either the left back or in the right back position. Someone who can
We need
potentially play
both.
both.
Forget about.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be real,
we
right?
honestly
No, right
we
back.
honestly need.
Now, if we're gonna sign one, personally for me, it would be right back. Cause listen, I love Kunde. I think Kunde has improved so much, but Kunde is very limited in that right back position. If we're just gonna be
Yeah.
honest, defensively, I think he's better as a defensive right back. But if you look at this brother going forward, he can't cross. I know people are going to say, oh, but Omar, he scored a goal against Real Madrid. I'm sorry, man. It's one of those goals, man. Let's be real. It's one of those out of nowhere goals. Like, no one was expecting Kunde to score a goal like that. And fair play to him. I will never take that away from him. Never. And he would remain in the bottom of my heart for that. But, fullbacks, especially Hansi Flick level fullbacks, are known for their defensive work and their offensive work. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And this is why I think that a guy like Frimpong, the thing with Frimpong is, as much as I'm giving him all this credit, he's great going forward, but he has that trend about him where
Yeah.
he's good going forward. But brother, I'm worried about this guy defensively, and
Yeah.
and that's where I'm like, damn, because Frimpong is like the only option. Who else is there for us to potentially sign as a right back?
No, I mean, in regards to in the right back position, you had Vanderson from Monaco. You had I believe it
The
was
Rayo
what's it
Vallecano
called?
right back. What's his name?
Yeah, the Roteglu or
Roteyu, I think.
it's hard to pronounce his name.
Yeah, it's Romanian,
Uh,
man. They just
yeah,
mislead
yeah. Let me look it up right here. He's another option.
And a cheaper option, to be fair.
Uh,
And a cheaper option.
and Andre Rateu.
Roteyu. I said
Yeah,
it
yeah,
correctly. Yeah, there you go.
yeah. He's from Romania.
Mhm.
He's another option that they can do there, but my thing is that you need someone who can give rest to Jose Koundé. You need a player who can give him rest and who can potentially maybe even challenge him for that position necessarily. Because at the end of the day,
Mm.
he's not a natural right back. He's a center back by trade. That is his fair position.
Yep.
He's been made to be a makeshift right back, and he's been absolutely amazing. He's excelled in that position. That speaks more about the quality of him as a player, and not necessarily say I would say his ability to perform there
Mm.
necessarily, or his character profile. But I do agree with you. The fullbacks in the Hansi Flick system have always been very aggressive.
Mm.
Those are the options for Barcelona. Obviously, you would have wanted to seen much better from Hector Four, but the season in general, you've seen Hansi Flick not rely on him, and so what can you expect from him? As it looks like some loan spells are going to be in the future for both maybe not Alex Valle or a Hector Fort necessarily for those fullback positions, but those are the names that are coming up, and for the center back position, I I I think we're set actually. I don't necessarily think that's a position that we need to reinforce. And so overall, I just think it's about just adding quality depth and not necessarily just saying, hey, let's go out and sign a Saliba, a Van Dijk
No, no, no,
necessarily.
no, no.
I think our backline is perfectly fine for the way that Hansi Flick wants to play,
Mhm.
which is just about adding depth in order to maintain the level and fitness throughout the entirety of the season.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yo, big up to every one of you guys, man. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe, and make sure you guys go subscribe to Kool-Aid's podcast, guys. If I haven't put the channel link, I'll put it in here, guys, before this stream is over, guys. And make sure you guys go subscribe to him because he's always here. We're gonna be doing the shows, like you're gonna be seeing him a lot more regularly on the channel as well. And make sure you guys go subscribe because he does a lot of news, guys. A lot of these like Barca news. Sometimes if I'm not covering it, he's covered in it. Make sure you guys go and check out his channel, right? But also he's always here when I'm doing the coolest culture show with with the Barcelona boys over here, right? So, but listen, so make sure you guys go subscribe to him. But next up, I do wanna, get back to the Leroy Sané thing because I wanna go into a little bit more depth with Leroy, right? Oh shit. Sorry guys, I think something went wrong. Give me a second.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, well, I don't know what happened. I didn't press anything. It just took you. I just took you out. Come on, man. Hey, listen, man. We big up, but yeah. I mean, listen. I wanted to talk about Leroy Sané, right? Because I want to go a
Okay.
little bit more in depth about Leroy.
Okay.
Leroy Sané is a player with a lot of potential. Right, this guy when he was at City, he was doing his thing. Went to Bayern,
Hmm.
we expected him to do well over there. And look, I'm gonna be very honest. I feel like maybe because he's in the Bundesliga, many people don't really watch him enough. But I speak to a lot of my Bundesliga friends, and
Yeah.
none of them like this guy. In fact, a lot of them just want him gone. You understand what I'm saying, right? They feel like he's a
Yeah.
waste of space. He's asking for too much. He goes. He has this tendency to down tools when things don't go well, don't go his way. He's a drama queen and everything else. And sometimes he just shows a lack of interest on the pitch. And when I watched the Inter game in that second leg at the San Siro, right? Just watching the way he was just so nonchalant. Like he just like they were losing, if you remember, because they were going into that first leg with a defeat, right?
Yeah.
So it was 1-1, and this brother was just looking like he wasn't even interested. And in my head, I'm just like, brother, look at this guy. Like this could never be my player, bro. Because I would be cussing this guy every single week. I'm telling you now. And now they're trying to link this brother to my club, and I'm just like, no thanks. Because I don't care how talented you are, bro. If you have a tendency to choose when you want to play well and when you don't want to play well, bro, you and I are not gonna see eye to eye. You understand what I'm
No.
saying?
No. No, I completely agree. I mean, I've also seen that criticism go towards Leroy Sané. A lot of Bayern fans and a lot of Bundesliga fans are not necessarily the biggest fan of him, and you obviously want a player who is able to be consistent. And just asking in general, what position has Leroy Sané played the most this season? Because
I think he's
he can
played on the
obviously
left.
play
Left.
he can play on both wings necessarily. I have seen him occasionally play as a nine, but obviously he's best suited out wide necessarily. And mm, I don't think that he's at the level for Barcelona necessarily. You could make the argument the same as Marcus Rashford, that's saying, hey, if he comes out on a loan or on a low cost fee with low wages, he could be an option, but he wouldn't be a starter. He would not be a starter. He could be coming up with the expectation saying, hey, Rafinha would start ahead of you, Lamine Yamal will start ahead of you. Lewandowski will start ahead of you. Even Ferran would be another option, ahead of you. We have to see, how he would handle that
He
if
would
if
not
he's
handle it well. I can tell you that.
exactly if he would be willing to accept all of that, accept these low wages necessarily, then
Yeah.
I'm all open for it. But I have a lot of question marks and doubts raised for the signing of Leroy Sané.
I'm telling you now, Elias, do not forget it. This brother is currently fighting with Bayern Munich because they are not giving him what he wants. You're talking about
Yeah,
him potentially joining Barca with low wages, with no guarantee starting
exactly.
11. Nah, man, he ain't doing. And listen,
Yeah.
I don't care, man, because that's the only way where I'm gonna take him. I am not taking this guy on cushy wages when I've literally have. Barcelona already have wage problems. You think I'm trying to deal with this brother messing up my wage bill? Nah, man, I'm good.
Uh-huh.
You feel me, right? So all of this talk, I'm not here for it. You understand what I'm saying? I am not here for it. Keep him away from the club, bro. Like there's other options, like you mentioned. I would take Lookman. I'm sorry, Lookman is much cheaper.
Mm.
His wages will be cheaper. And listen, this guy has been playing well at Atalanta. You understand what I'm saying? And let's be real, I'm not expecting him to come in and just start every week. But one thing he will be is a good option from the bench. I know that this brother will
Yeah.
come in because let's be clear, players are leaving in the summer. Players are leaving. We know.
Yeah.
Guys like
Yeah.
Ansu, they're done, right?
Yeah.
Ansu Fati, I think his time is over. Like I don't, like I feel like even guys like Martin. I mean, I don't know where you stand about the goalkeeper Ter Stegen. Do you think Ter Stegen might leave? Because brother, he came back.
I don't think I don't think that he'll leave, but I'm a Ter Stegen hater. I will say that. I think that Ter Stegen has very much outlived his Barcelona
I'm
career.
not gonna
I
lie,
thank him for his.
I've made my decision on him too. I saw that game
Yeah,
against Valladolid. He came, bro. You come back in your first game and literally the first chance to save and you mess up and score. I was like, brother, I'm sorry, man.
ever
I tried
ever
to tell.
since ever since 2019, I've said, hey, gone. 6 years ago, I said get Ter
Six
Stegen
years
out of
ago.
here. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm being serious. Like ever since
No,
2019, I said, hey, Barcelona, they have to go, out for a better keeper because all these I see the Barcelona fans on social media and they go crazy for Ter Stegen. Say he plays, amazing. He's an amazing passer. He's able to distribute the ball fantastically well. Just look at what a top keeper can do for you in the Champions League. You literally saw what a top shot stopper can do. You saw the performances that Summer was putting in. You saw Donnarumma for PSG. You've seen Thibaut Courtois year upon year for Real Madrid. You've seen Alisson for Liverpool. You've seen top goalkeepers, top shot stoppers do amazingly well. And of course, you're going to see these Barcelona fans just say, "Oh, we want to, because of the way that we play, we want our goalkeeper to be great with his feet and everything." Yes, let's that be a requirement, but a goalkeeper's job should be to stop the shots. Chesney, I think he's been a great replacement for Ter
yes,
Stegen,
yes.
but you've seen his liabilities.
No,
Throughout the
absolutely.
time,
Yeah.
he what made zero saves in both games, and while on the other end, you saw Sommer literally bail Inter Milan out.
Bro, he
It's
left
just
extra time, bro. 4-3, bro. The scoreline is 4-3, and you make a save like that. You know it, right? Now that you say that, I'm really beginning to think about it, bro. You're
yeah.
right.
No,
Genuinely, I don't remember ever watching a Ter Stegen game where I was like, yo, Ter Stegen cooked in this game. Like we would have
no.
lost this game if Ter Stegen wasn't on point. Like, brother,
I'm
you're
I'm talking about Europe specifically because you can
no,
go
no,
back
no,
and
no,
you can
and
go
that's my
back to La
point.
Liga,
No,
and you can be like, hey, he had this great game against Villarreal. No, I don't want to see Ter Stegen. Obviously we want to see him do well in La Liga, but in these moments, in this type of game, that's where you want your goalkeeper to bail you out because great goalkeepers, they win you these tournaments. You've seen it
100%,
time and time again throughout the
100%,
seasons. A
bro.
great goalkeeper decides the
2022.
UCL.
Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Yeah, Madrid won the game 1-0.
There you
Guess
go.
what? Look at Courtois in that game. Look at the amount of
No,
saves he made for Mane and Salah in that game. Right?
no.
Look at the game last year in the final. Like Dortmund has so many opportunities to score if it wasn't for Courtois. Like I'm sorry, you listen. You're right. Listen, in league competition, yeah, league competition, you can always have your moments. First of all, then before I continue, big up to my brother from another mother, Flawless for the raid, guys. Big up to Flawless for the raid. I just literally just saw it right now. Big up to you, brother, man. Thank you for the raid. Big up to everyone of you. Make sure you guys smash the like button, guys. Smash the like button. But yeah, listen, as far as goalkeepers is concerned, yes, you
No.
can go, you're in the league, you can have your moments here, and the league competition is different. When you're in the league, you can literally have a moment where you have like this incredible game one time in the league in 38 games. Where I need you to turn up is in the quarterfinals, semifinals, the finals, the crunch games where I'm about to lose and I'm playing a team that can basically take the tie away from me, and then you save me. Look at Sommer, bro. Sommer conceded 6 goals in this tie, and was still one of the best goalkeepers in that tie. He's the
No.
reason why they
Yeah.
made it to this. Bro, that Yamal save. I was watching it. Go up to my guy Flawless. He's on the chat. I was on the playback with him. He literally. Did you remember the Yamal save? That was
No.
going in.
Yeah. The Eric Garcia save. The Eric Garcia save. You're thinking about in the first game. You're thinking the save against Jos Kunde, the save against Yamal. Even he had I would say 3 or 4, maybe even 5 saves where you're thinking, hey, if he doesn't put his hand to that, Barcelona they score. It's just simple as that. And you look at Chesney, for example, on the other end. He wasn't able to have that same impact. And throughout the years, Ter Stegen has been nowhere near that. And in fact, he's been at fault.
Yep.
For Barcelona conceding these goals necessarily. And so when you talk about the goalkeeper position and talk about Barcelona as a whole, squad playing as a whole, there's a lot of positions that you need to reinforce. And talking about the goalkeeper position specifically, obviously, I would love to go into the market, get a Joan Garcia, for example, who I'm reading conflicting reports saying, yeah, he's an Espanol fan,
Well, who
or
cares?
other reports saying that he doesn't care. I have to see necessarily because they have that hatred towards Barcelona
Of
to see
course.
would that play for something, but the goalkeeper position is a position that would reinforce. I think Chesney would be a great number two. Ter Stegen, I have zero trust in him to actually
Yeah,
perform in these
he
big games.
cannot be our
And
number
and,
one next season.
and besides, he's getting up there with age. He's picked up an injury. Can he? He's getting older. You want to replace him? Look for the long term. And you have Joan Garcia right there. I think he'd be a great option to pick up. But obviously, there could be some positions in the squad that you deem more important. You're looking at the right back. You're looking at the left winger. You're looking at potentially a left back. It makes things difficult.
No, 100%, 100%. We go to my guy NJ. Says, seems like Grimaldo is willing to follow Xabi Alonso at Real Madrid if the offer arrives. Bro, I think will that mean? I think he might genuinely be the first La Masia graduate to play for Real Madrid if that happens, right?
Um,
Because he is a La Masia
I
graduate.
yeah, I potentially I don't know. I haven't been keeping track, so
Yeah, I
I
mean,
wouldn't be able to say if he's the first or
pray to
not.
God he doesn't move there. But listen, as far as your Testegen point is concerned, look, I was one of the people that tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really did. At the start of the season, right? People were already done with this guy at the start of the season. And I
Wow.
remember, and I was like, listen, man, listen. I still think he still has something to give in this team, right? I genuinely wanted to, I really, really, really wanted to give this brother the benefit of the doubt. I promise you, Elias, right? But I watched the stinker after stinker after stinker, and then he got injured. And then I saw Chesney sign in, and then I saw Chesney started saving us in the game, like the game against Benfica when we were 1-0 down,
No.
when we won 1-0 at the Stadio de Luz, when we were 10 man down, and this guy was literally saving us. He's the reason why we won that game 1-0, right?
No.
And I'm like, brother, I don't even remember Chesney ever having a game like this in Europe. And then this brother comes back from this long time of injury, right? And in a game against the team that is bottom of the table, and then you do that in literally the first 5 minutes. But when he did that, it was like that was the when the light really to shined on my head. It was like, Omar, give it up, give it up. He's done,
Yeah.
bro. He's done. And I'm
No.
sorry, man. We need to move on from him. We need to move on from him. Listen, Chesney, I'm gonna be very real. He's gonna be staying for another season. I'll keep him for next season because he's proven that he can do a job. But we definitely
No,
need a keeper as well. But I don't think we will sign a keeper in the summer. You understand what I'm saying?
no, and
So
I don't think so either. And I do think that is a mistake. I think potentially if we have a big sale, necessarily the sale of an Araujo potentially, I do think we can make moves
mm,
in the summer necessarily. When you're looking at the priority, I would assume that Barcelona have some funds to go out into the transfer market. You know, maybe go after Nico Williams, go after Lookman, and then go after a midfielder potentially if I don't know someone leaves, or go after a goalkeeper or fullback. But I just think it's how much money do we actually have in order to spend?
yeah, I mean, bro. At this point, I don't even know anymore. Cause brother, every time the news changes in La Liga, bro. One minute I'm
No,
hearing in January we are in the 1+1 rule or 101 rule basically, where we are basically in a point now where we can basically spend as much as we bring in, which meant that we could basically go out and resign Pedri and resign Omo and all these guys, and now all of a sudden we are below the weight. Like, bro, I don't understand La Liga's rule book anymore, bro. It's too confusing.
no,
This Tebas guy every time changes this, bro. One minute we are on the right path, next minute we are far away. It's like whatever, man. Whatever. Like I'm just at the point now where I'm like, brother, if we sign players, we sign players. If we don't sign players, it is what it is. I don't even know anymore, man. But you mentioned
uh,
Araujo as an option. Now you've seen some of the reaction from some of the Barca fans when it comes to
no.
Araujo, because I'm not gonna lie, man. Araujo embarrassed me, man. I remember doing my match preview because you watched my previews, right? You remember I said we should
No.
start Araujo in the game because I said we need his physicality in that game. And this brother stayed on the bench, comes on
Uh,
the pitch, and brother, you get out muscled by fucking Turan when I thought I backed you, bro. Like I backed you to be able to deal with the physicality, bro, and you're getting physically bumbled away by flipping Marcos Turan. But when he did
no.
that, I was like, yeah, you know what, man? Fuck off. Seriously, get out of here, man. Like I'm done. Cause here's the thing, man. This guy has been pissing me off all season. I'm gonna be very real, man. Ever since his brother come back from injury, from his whole shenanigans with like Juventus, right, doing all of
Yeah.
the most with that, and me saying, "Alright, get out of here," and then he signs a new contract, and he starts having bozo moment after bozo moment. I'm like, brother, you know what it is, man? I'm not dealing with this. If you wanna leave, the door is right there, bro. Seriously. Like I'm at the point now where Elias, I'm just like, you know what it is? If the right offer arrives, we need to cash in. If we
No.
if
My sense on Rajo is, well, first I've always rated him. I think
Me too.
I'm very grateful for necessarily for his early years at the club, because let's be honest, he was one of the only bright spots of that Barcelona team. When you had your Luke De Jong, your Memphis Depay, all these players in Barcelona, your Ricky Puig. He was one of the only players who necessarily bailed Barcelona out, and you're thinking, hey, Barcelona, they have a talent here. I think in that period, 2021, 2022, 20, even potentially 2023, you could say that he was the top three center backs in the world, and I still believe that. But due to all these injuries, and as well Hansi Flick's style of play, you haven't seen the same Araujo. You have not seen the same Araujo, and he's far below that level. And I don't think that this system necessarily does him any favors.
Mm,
And also, I think it's just something that is just mentally eating away with you. That tie against PSG.
yeah.
I think that was a huge blow. Necessarily, just being knocked out in that fashion. I think that caused a lot of damage to his confidence necessarily. The injuries didn't help necessarily, and then as well, obviously. The criticism throughout the season, the Juventus saga necessarily, seeing the lack of minutes, looking at how important you could be under Hansi Flick. It's just thinking like, hey, it's most likely the right time to just say part ways. But that does not mean that he's not a bad player. I definitely see, Ron Rajo absolutely destroying things up necessarily in a Premier League team, or in maybe even an Inter necessarily, a
In
team
Serie
that
A,
could be
like
defensive.
Juventus, because I know Juventus
Exactly.
also. Mm.
Juventus, I think you do absolutely fantastic there. So I would not be doing a team any favors in regards to Rajo. I think he's still a quality player, but it's just that for Barcelona, I don't think that he's the right fit, and I do think it is time to part ways necessarily. But if an offer doesn't arrive, thinking maybe 65, 70, 80 million euros, then I'm all in favor for keeping him. But you wouldn't be relying on him on these type of games.
I mean, I think that's how I kind of look at it too. To be perfectly honest, um, I'm more in the mindset of, well, I really don't want him. It's not that I don't rate him. I still do think he offers something to our team. And listen, obviously, I'm one of these people where I don't really give up on players, because the thing with me is when I give up on a player, I'm done. You understand what I'm saying? It's like Testegen. Like, the thing with Testegen is there's nothing he can do to bring me back. I've seen the light and I'm
Yeah.
never going back. And the thing with Araujo
Yeah.
is I'm not there with him yet, where I'm just like, yeah, you're done, you're finished, you're over, man.
Yeah.
You gotta go. But I'm at a position now where I'm like, if the right offer comes in, we have to sell. I have no problem. There was a point where, remember, when Bayern Munich were saying that they wanted 400 million, I said, hell no. 400 million, I still wouldn't sell him. Because
No.
I looked at him as our future. For me, I was like, yeah, this guy, he's going to be the center back partner alongside Kubashi for the next 10 years. You understand what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, right? But he's been, like you just mentioned, this. I don't know if it's like a mental block that he's going through since last season, but ever since that PSG game and the criticism he got, he's just never recovered mentally from that. You understand what I'm saying, right?
No.
He's just been so error prone. Like, it's like he's afraid to make mistakes. He's afraid to do
Yeah.
things. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, man, you gotta accept when it comes to fans, fans are always gonna be fans. We will always pick things out in games. It's like when we talk about the Inter game here. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we're sitting here picking out the moments of like Yamal. Why didn't he go to the corner flag? Or why did Hansi Flick have to push? Why did the players push so far forward in the 94th minute? Like, we're always gonna do this as fans. But you as the player, you have to keep that same level, because top players, no matter how big or how small you are as a player, as far as level is concerned, you're always going to make mistakes, and you have to accept that sometimes mistakes are a part of the game. But for him, I don't think he really accept, like, mentally, because you could see he wasn't happy with the criticism that he was getting from a lot of the Barca fans. It's like, come on, man, that's
No.
that's just fans being fans. You understand what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
yeah, man. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But Elias, last thing I do want to talk to you about is this, right?
Okay.
Obviously, we will be doing Coolest Culture Show on Sunday. Hopefully, you will be there
Mm.
alongside with the rest of the panel. That will
Mm-hmm.
be after the El Clasico, and
Uh,
we could either be having a great show, or it could just be a therapy session. But obviously, man, it's El Clasico Sunday. We have a
yeah.
potential. Think about this for 1 second, Elias. We have a potential to potentially secure our fourth, no, actually third title this season against Real Madrid. Now, I know it's not that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying if we win the league is over. No, no, no. But basically, if we win the game, we are one win away from the title being wrapped up. So basically, it's a winner takes
Yeah.
all. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Elias, before you go, let me just say this, man. We've played these guys 3 times. We've beaten them 3 times. And every
Yeah.
time we played them, and the last time we played them in the Copa del Rey, it wasn't easy. It was
It was not
very,
easy.
it was not an easy game in any stretch of the
Mm-hmm.
imagination. But we won. And so I just wanted to ask you, brother, do you see us doing the fourth in a row this season and potentially winning the league?
Ooh, well, I'm obviously confident. I'm confident in the team in achieving that victory, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to those watching and say, hey, that loss against Inter Milan, it's not gonna weigh on their minds. It's not going to affect the team. I think that loss is going to be in the back of their minds. Obviously, it's going to play a factor. And I look at the words from the players speaking after the match, the words from Lamine Yamal, the words of Gavi, the words of Inigo Martinez, the words of Eric Garcia. Everyone just wanted the next game to come. Everyone was obviously heartbroken of the defeat, but still proud of the work they've done throughout the campaign. And Real Madrid, they have an opportunity to make it even worse for us. And obviously, it, it could be a rough night, but at the same time, it could be an opportunity for Barcelona just to put all of that misery and heartbreak behind, and just, as you said, basically end the La Liga title.
Yeah.
Because going from this 4 point lead and making it 7 is completely different to having that lead be absolutely crushed and being only 1 point ahead of Real Madrid.
Yep.
I'm confident that Barcelona, they will beat Real Madrid, but we've seen Barcelona be a momentum team as well,
Hmm.
and I don't even potentially rule out a draw necessarily. Just what Barcelona have to do is just minimum maintain the point difference. Maintain the point difference because we still have some very difficult games,
Right.
coming up in La Liga. You're thinking about the game against Villarreal and the game against Athletic
That's
Club.
why I want to win
And
this
even
game.
yeah, and then so this game is sort of a must win,
Hmm.
but a draw wouldn't be the end of the world. But we're gonna need Barcelona to bounce back, just put away or even use the anger and heartbreak to
Yeah.
perform on this weekend.
I mean, that's 100% true. I'm gonna be very honest, man. We can't lose this game because
Yeah.
two back-to-back losses in a week is gonna hit these guys mentally, especially considering where we're going next. We're
Yeah.
going to the RCD Arena, bro. That's
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I've said this before. People were telling me, Omar, Espanol, you're gonna win that game. Listen, because a lot of you guys are not Barca fans and not La Liga fans, so you guys don't know the history behind this tie against Espanol. Espanol, if we lose against Real Madrid, Espanol have an opportunity of a lifetime. They have an
Yeah.
opportunity to take the title off our hands. I want you to
Hmm.
understand in the past 5 years, do you have any idea what my club has done to this team? To Espanyol? We've relegated them. We've beaten them and relegated them. Do you remember 22, 22, 21, 20, was it 21, 2020, 2021? Right? The year they got relegated.
Uh,
They No, it was yes 2020,
I,
2021. We played them
I,
in the
I, do- I, do- I don't remember the specific year, but we had some memorable
yes,
games in
but
their
that's what I'm
stadium.
saying.
We won the state. We won, I think, the league title in their stadium. I think
That's and that was all in 5 years. So
yeah,
we've won the league in their stadium and we've beaten them, hmm, and not gotten them relegated. So these guys flipping hate us right now. They hate
yeah.
us with a passion right now, bro. These guys haven't forgotten it. The trauma is still there because it was just 5 years ago. And imagine, bro, if we beat Real Madrid, we could go back to the RCD Stadium and win the league over there again.
Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you something. The storytelling is still there because potentially
No.
we could lose the game against Madrid and they could beat us or even draw against us and Madrid could go top. And we have to go play Villarreal and Athletic Bilbao, which are going to be two tough games.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? But I'll tell you this. If you look at the other side, if we win, then that means we can go to the RCD and win in that stadium. Bro, nah, man, I will be shameless. You don't understand. I need us to win.
No, I desperately need
I
Barcelona to win
desperate.
because
Yeah.
some of these fans have been celebrating Barcelona's downfall,
Mm-hmm.
and calling our campaign a failure or Barcelona's season failure. I don't know, you reaching the semifinals of the Champions League, you winning already two trophies and being or top of the La Liga table a failure. I don't know how you can call that a failure, but obviously a loss to Real Madrid will blow the La Liga title race wide open. We don't want that to happen, and so Barcelona this weekend we have to get the job done. We have to get the job
We
done,
must.
and we have to get the 3 points.
We
Absolutely,
must.
it's
We must.
it's a final. It's a final.
And we must. Yo, big up to everyone. Big up to Judy Hopes, man. Says hit the likes and free Catalonia. Hey, yo, big up, man. Listen, man. Guys, tell these guys, man, what is coming up on your channel, bro.
Yeah. So guys, obviously, every single day I have the Barca news roundup. I talk about the latest stuff going on in the world of football, specifically Barcelona, obviously. But this weekend we're gonna have the watch long match reaction. We're gonna be talking about the game against Real Madrid, and hopefully we are able to celebrate with a win. Because if not, man, it's gonna be a tough week as a Barcelona fan.
Mm.
And obviously, guys, you guys can find me all Kool Aid Podcast. I'm on YouTube, on X, on Instagram as well. And obviously, thank you for having me, Omar. Absolutely a pleasure as well.
Hey, man, listen, man. Appreciate you for turning up. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Coolest Podcast Show, guys. I'll put his channel link, guys, in the title or in the description. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to him, guys. He is a huge supporter of the channel. He's always here, guys, when there's like Barca news, Barca stuff, guys, and our panel shows. He's usually here, guys. Make sure you guys go and show him some support on his channel, guys. And yeah, man, listen. Obviously, it's a big weekend for both of us as Barca fans. We have had a poor start to our week, but we could have a great end to our week, or we could just have a miserable week in general. But we'll see what
No.
happens, man. But listen, guys, we are gonna be closing out, guys. This is a new show that I'm gonna be doing, guys, with new Barcelona panelists, guys. Obviously, you see today Elias is here. Next time, you're gonna see another Barcelona fan here, guys. And I'm gonna be trying. I'm not gonna run this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to run it every day, but I'll try to do it at least once a day on every so you guys make sure you guys are always here, guys, because you guys love these Barca shows that I'll be doing here on the channel all the time. So we're gonna be running a lot more of these, guys. We're gonna be closing now, guys. This stream will be redirecting you guys to yeah, I think Touchline is still live, isn't it? Yeah. All right, we're gonna do. Is this stream will be redirecting you guys to Touchline Facts, guys. Make sure you guys go and put Omar BYT raid in the comment section below. Big up to every single one of you guys who's been here. We had like 32 people. Big up to my brother Flawless for the raid every single time. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like I always say whenever I end these streams, guys, Visca el Barça, Visca el Catalonia, and peace, you guys.